Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. Kinang puranam namam natti sambhavam. Viratta chitta yatike bhavasaming. Te kina bija virulli chanda. Nibanti dira yatta yampatipo. This is lines from the Ratana Sutta, a culminating phrase or sequence. It's to do with kina, seeds, seeds for rebirth. Te kina bija. So these are kina is extinguished. Bija is the seed. So it's kina bija. The seeds are cut off. They're eliminated. There's no more. What happens next, the new, does not give rise to becoming. The citta is not inclined to rebirth. All the old seeds have been consumed. They're not letting anything new. The wise are extinguished like the flame of a lamp. It's a rough translation, you can look it up yourself, but that's the general meaning of it. So it's kina is finished or completed, often used with kinasava, finished with yasava. Kina jati, finished with rebirth, completed. Kina bija, seeds, that which are the potentials for rebirth and becoming and identity and all that. They've been extinguished or cleaned out. Dhira, the wise one, the sage, is extinguished. Niputo, like the flame of a lamp when it's snuffed out. Yeah, so this is a resting kind of image, because I imagine we don't normally consider being snuffed out to be that great an experience. But you get a taste for it after a while. This is the way it's often expressed. With a nun, Patachara, when she realized the arahantship, and she goes on a walking path, she comes into a kuti, and mind was very one point in bathing her feet, and then she turns the lamp off. And so just as I turned the lamp off, my mind, my citta was released. So like an energy, heatedness, gone, cool, the cool, and released. This is the citta. It's called kinasava, when the chittas are released from clinging. The kinasava, the asava, the taints, the corruptions are finished, cut off. So, and it's said that when the citta has gone out, you can't say where it's gone any more than you can say where a flame's gone when it goes out. The muni, the sage, is one who is atangamo, gone out. Not dead, not even ceased, but gone out beyond what you can get your hands on, or the identity form has disappeared. Still there's presence. The Tathagata being, of course, the supreme example, obviously supremely present, supremely manifesting, vigorously, continuously manifesting, and yet also gone out. Yeah. So, in other words, not holding. Looking very simply, this is the deathless, and it says in the sutta, this is the deathless, the citta released from all clinging. that which binds, nibbana, the unbinding, which binds and forms a discrete identity contained in a space, a shuttle moving through time endlessly, and released from that package. So this is, a sense of, I think, just a lovely, intriguing, perhaps enigmatic, but intriguing image. Oh, the cool, the nameless, the ungraspable, outside, beyond this person package, beyond this sense of being a me stuck in some kind of bag of meanness with other me bags drifting around in this strange world I could never really connect to and yet can't really get away from either. Sort of, when you see samsara, what it is, you can't really get it and you can't get away from it. It's sort of constantly kind of getting around you and exciting you or disappointing you or so forth, but you can't nail it down. You can't make it work. And yet it gets under your skin. The aim is really, in practice, is to begin to release that skin. It requires the citta has to be very nourished, firmed up, made strong and healthy. Also learn to be strong and not get crumble or get blown away. This is our training is like this. Yeah. Many things we find assault us or frustrate or irritate. These are all pushing. Oh, I can't stand this. I don't see why. Pretty common sound. Just holding, not expecting to like everything or anything really. Just can we be with the unpleasant feeling, the unpleasant perceptions? That's really about dismantling the power of these aggregates, feeling, perception, and volitional reflexes. Here I am getting upset again. Oh dear. Okay, that's just gotta keep going. And holding. So these no longer have the power to encapsulate and lock you in. As you practice with this life, this training, sure, if we're going to come up against it, aren't we? First, and you find, first of all, a bit confusing, actually really weird, and then actually quite irritating, and then really quite a nuisance, actually, and then you really shouldn't be here at all. And then, like that, and then a sense of love. Where did that come from? Compassion and acceptance and, where did that come from? When the old sankharas are exhausted and something wonderful and beautiful arises. Yeah. So, reading today, continue on this line probably, see how it goes, but this is the 71st sutta of the Indriya Samyutta, or a section from it. Just as the river Ganges slants, slopes and inclines towards the east, so to a bhikkhu who develops and cultivates the 5 spiritual faculties, slants, slopes, and inclines towards Nibbana. And how bhikkhus does a bhikkhu develop and cultivate the 5 spiritual faculties so that he slants, slopes, and inclines towards Nibbana? Here, bhikkhus, a bhikkhu develops the faculty of faith, which is based upon seclusion, dispassion, and cessation, maturing in release. He develops the faculty of energy, the faculty of mindfulness, the faculty of concentration, the faculty of wisdom, which is based upon seclusion, dispassion, and cessation, maturing in release. It is in this way, bhikkhus, that a bhikkhu develops and cultivates the 5 spiritual faculties so that he slants, slopes, and inclines towards Nibbana. And you get a sense there's quite a lot of graduation in that. It's not bingo, 1 click and he's in, or 1 click and she's out. It's a sense of a gradual, inclining towards unbinding. It does not suddenly pop. Inclines, slants, slopes, tends towards letting go, tends towards it. Because we're dealing with something very powerful that's kept chitta embedded in many births, certainly in this life firmly embedded in being a person, moving through history, with definitely their body and their mind and their thoughts and their ideas and their skills and their talents and their preferences and their weak spots, and that's me, all right. It's very gripped, so much so the grip is so intrinsic it doesn't even feel like a grip, it just feels like me. And yet we can't really assess where this me is. It just hovers over that which is held. The two go together. That which becomes the returning place, that which becomes the reference point, that which becomes sustained. But all it is a sustained set of programs and patterns. Patterns of behavior, programs, what I'm good at doing, my go-tos, my strategies, how I avoid things, what I like to do, my programs, in sankhara. Patterns, perceptions, that way things strike me in particular ways. I'm an aesthete, or I'm a techno guy, or I really like being out in the wilds, or I'm a person who likes to chat and feel more comfortable. My pattern. That's me, all right. And the programs, what I do to sustain that pattern, where I go, how I defend it, how I decorate it and evaluate it and seek it out. It keeps me going, sure does. So, the faculty of faith arises because you begin to think, I don't know about this being me thing. It seems to go on and on and on, and yet it's not finally satisfying or completed, or it always needs to do something more, needs to have more of that, and finding problems or faults or irritations where I can't follow my programs. Something, dukkha. And dukkha is the condition for the arising of faith. It means, could there be something, some way, another way? I need to investigate. It's not just add more decoration to it. And it's kind of intuitive sense, I think, comes up. Certainly at my own experience, I think a lot of program, I liked fantasy as a way of amusing myself as a child, because I felt very lost and alone, so I'd fill my head with fantasies. I loved reading, stories, drawing, painting, creative. I loved an ideal, a dream world or a fantasy world. And it was a way of getting away from the discomfort of feeling lost and alone and cold, left out. And this lovely, rich world one could dwell in. And that kind of continued, that pattern continued for many years, and then after I go through the educational program, and I think, now I can go out and just drift around and follow my wishes, travelling, seeing things, going different places, free, get somewhere, and once you've had enough of that, go somewhere else, and then get a job somewhere, make some money, a bit of money, enough just to get by on, live very simply, travel again, see somewhere else, interesting place, okay, run out of money, find some way, make some more money, get travelling, live very simply, so you could keep that going. And it did for about 4 or 5 years. And then you think, this is getting really boring. Yeah. So then I started to touch meditation as another thing to do, which would perhaps get me clearer, and then going to a monastery, because some sense, and this is where it gets really strange, because it's come from somewhere, was you need to stop. You need to be restrained. And going to a monastery, and then they put me in a little hut, and it was a section of the monastery which was dedicated, was called the Vipassana section, which is just for people to do 10-day silent retreats in. They're doing what is called Vipassana. So you didn't talk, you didn't go out, and they brought you food in a couple of little pintos, little dishes. So they put me there, and I was there for nearly 3 years. And this is kuti, and there was nobody to talk to, didn't talk to anybody. The teacher would come, you have a 15-minute dialogue with the teacher, and then after a while they let us go, we go bindabat, but there's no talking, and then get back, and then in this hut all day. Nothing to do, no work, no pujas, nothing. Just this hut, 7 steps wide, 7 steps long. I knew it because I walked up and down in it. 7 steps, 7 steps, 7 steps. And it probably if I'd have thought about that a few years back, this would be my worst case scenario to find yourself in. I liked freedom, I liked space, I liked moving. No freedom, very limited space. And even the moving was this Mahasi Sayadaw system where you move incredibly slowly. So basically, everything that goes against what I found comfortable or fun or interesting, removed. And you get a sense of stuckness. And then of course it's very hot for me. I felt sleepy and dull all the time. And and so on. There we go on all about that. But basically there's something kind of, why am I still here? Weeks go by, why am I still here? you know, something seems to know you need to be with this. Something seems to know. My thinking mind didn't seem to know at all, but something says you stay with this. So it's like, my explanation for it, the citta is sometimes beneath the surface of our personality and our thoughts, and it has its own program. Who knows why we're here? Who knows where you came from? You weren't born as a monk or a nun, for sure. And yet, here you are, that kind of mysterious call of faith. Could be interesting, could be better, could do me some good, and probably going to be quite, after a while, quite uncomfortable. And then it's just, you can either kind of think, well, I've had enough of this, but something says no. Stay with it. You work with the fantasies, the wandering mind, the dullness, the irritability, the craving. Yeah, this is what we're here for, to throw light on that. And, I would spend time fantasizing about what I could be doing somewhere else. The fantasy got more and more ridiculous. Oh, I could go here, I could go there, I could do this. But, ended up having this fantasy of living out on a hill somewhere, growing carrots and having goats. And it wasn't even a very good fantasy. It's kind of being left alone, a very simple life, just milk the goats, make cheese, grow carrots. That's enough, that's fine. This is so corny. It's not even very good at it. I think the last one I had was becoming a milkman. Then I could just do the work by 8 o'clock in the morning, deliver all the milk and have a free day. I thought, is that the best you could do with your life, is to become a milkman? And I thought, wait a minute. Let's just look at it again. Good people here, decent people, giving you a place to shelter, food, it's not exactly what you want, but it's all given. It's peaceful, nobody's bothering you, they're not expecting anything of you. You can leave whenever you like, it's up to you. Why don't you put energy into just examining all the clinging and the resistances? I didn't have it figured out as an idea, but something intuitive starts chewing away at that. And you get what grows is what's called seclusion here, or sometimes withdrawal, or sometimes detachment. Viveka is the word. Something steps back from the programs, not just from the situation, but also from what we're making of it. Here's the irritation. Here's the this isn't right. Here's the all that kind of thing. There it is. Making an object. First step, making an object. If you don't have to, of course. But if you're interested, if you've still got the saddha, saying it's a chance, we can follow our programs anytime, absolutely. But if you want to get out of them, then you've got to meet, where things seem pretty me, and if the me occurs in a sense of dissonance from what's going on around, a fundamental ripple that the me generates is, something around me, something that this I'm not happy with, so therefore the me crystallizes with a kind of defense or bristling or something going on. So it crystallizes. And then one becomes, the discriminated against, or the not treated fairly, or the left out, or the whatever. It would become something in that, the program, and then we feel, I'm stuck in this being me. Can we just kind of take that step by step, just get back to contemplating the presence of, say, irritation. So this is the process of wisdom. In its form of yoni somani sakara. So we come down to just the I don't like, I don't see why I should have to, and so on. And then since rather than even trying to change it, just to get some space and let the quality of sustaining that mindful holding of that little envelope of space which around one's programs, just hold it there carefully. And the program tends to run and shift, and then it's sort of, you see, it's not me. Because the sense of the me with aversion can only occur when it keeps being averse. So if we're not averse to our aversion, some of the feedback loop that's essential to sustain this me sense is broken. There's aversion, everybody gets aversion, she gets aversion, he gets aversion, he finds it here, she finds it there, everybody gets it. Where's the me in that? It's just, what does it do? It runs, it lights up particular thoughts, it goes into what's called the vajji sankhara, the verbal formation. It starts to churn out litanies, narratives of thoughts and judgments and so forth. It goes into vajji sankhara. It goes into citta sankhara, the emotions, seething, jumping, bubbling, sliding, and that pattern, contemplate it. It goes into kaya sankhara, you can feel it heating your body or buzzing in your head. Contemplate it. Generally space around these phenomena. Till you understand, you can really track the movement of irritability, or whatever your thing is. I mean, sure, everybody gets the whole lot of it. And dispassion. Because you're not fiddling with it, you're not getting into some kind of reactive about it. Dispassion. Things start to cease. What starts to stop is generating a self out of it, and also the kind of knee-jerk running away, or verbal action, or physical action, or even emotional action based upon it. Ceasing, something stops. And as the me sense stops, then it's like the skin of the me bag opens, this energy can just discharge, release, discharge. A little bit of my program has lost its velocity and its power. And this is the kind of, this is the track. Or that's my expression of it anyway. Just living it and comparing it with other people. Because everybody gets this. I mean, I'm more of an aversion person probably than a fascination person. Other people get fascinated with tinkering with gadgets or whatever they do, they get obsessively fascinated with it. I'm more aversive. I just want out. I don't want to bother. I don't like details. I get impatient. And those are my program. Oh, I have to fuss around with this sort of stuff, you know. And you know, just, you don't have to like it. Look at the discord. You know. Was life set up and every situation set up so that you could like it? No. Okay, just maybe there's something we could learn here. Releasing, and then release, and then you I find myself thinking, actually it's important to give attention to details. I've sort of flipped over from someone who can't be bothered to somebody, actually it's important. Not because I was told to, just because when that program ceases, that open space, and then you can actually, we do detail, I can do detail. Don't do detail, I can do that. Yeah. Open space, that's fine. Detailed stuff, that's okay. You know? You know? So this is the way we exhaust programs, rebirth programs. And they're in mind. You know, we have the katina coming up, and then, you know, maybe we don't like all the flurry and the people and the chit-chat and all the randomness of it. We like it nice and steady and smooth, orderly. It can be quite, you know, people being people. That's why people are. They're happy, they're excited, they're meeting each other, they like to see you, this kind of thing, and maybe you're thinking, oh God, you know, overwhelmed. I certainly could feel that, overwhelmed, certainly in my early years. Not to dislike people, just it was a bit too much. You know, something in me was extremely, this is this kind of, the negativity comes from real, very sensitive. You know, it's a bit too much. So hiding, because it's all a bit too much. Trying to escape, because it's all a bit too much. Yeah. And then you kind of meet. And the irony is you see people expressing benevolence, gratitude, and happiness and devotion, and you're thinking, I can't stand it. It's too much. It's nobody's fault, it's just there's a program. You think, okay, can I just, nobody's saying, you know, as a Buddhist monk, you can, just be what you want. We love you, if you don't like it, that's up to you. But it's kind of, okay, just no pressure. Take your time, and then beginning to learn to not feel awkward, shy, embarrassed, running away, just relaxing the skin around the me. You just go with the flurry of it. And, you know, and yet it only seems to become possible as one gains over time gradual strengthening of these faculties. You know, it's not just you're just giving up and going with any old thing that happens. There's a sense of I know about when I'm being affected. I know the reactions and impulses. I know my programs and patterns. I'm taking a stand on a place of dispassion, calm, mindfulness, understanding, wisdom, and let the me bag go. And, it's into that, whatever. So, this is kind of the process. And one finds, certainly I find in my own experience, some of those deeply kind of embedded seeds of just really not wanting to be anywhere. Just not wanting to be existing, the vibhava, just really don't want to be at all. Whatever inexplicable thing that is about, just get me out, I don't want to be here. And kind of gradually, kindly, patiently managing that and recognizing all the kind of wriggling and spluttering and whatever, just being very patient with it all. So everyone's continually leaning against the program, slanting against the programs, it's inclining against them, using almost like the weight of Dhamma, just to lean on these habits, and then something gives. You think, a little bit of taste of freedom. And something beautiful comes, a sense of wonder, quiet joy, warm-heartedness, as if the old seed has been removed. Instead the citta begins to open, and in a way that's quite beautiful. What a blessing, what a journey. And how else is it going to happen? From more as day one of being welcomed, generously welcomed and given refuge in a monastery, almost day one, you're thinking, could there be another way of doing this? Okay, find it, look around. No, that doesn't sound right. No, that's just fantasy. It's just, yeah, it's up to you, it's your life. You find a better way of what you want to do, or fulfilled, or free, or whatever it is for you, go for it, absolutely. And your citta, this is where it gets interesting. The citta says, no, I had enough. I've had enough. I've had enough. Like settling, steady, inclining, leaning. Just giving it steady, patient, not harsh, but patient, leaning on it. stilling of sankhara, not the elimination, but just the volitional tendencies, those do-it things are just becoming stilled into what you can do, what really you can do right now, what really can you do, what's worth doing right now, really what's worth doing right now, stay still and open. It's the transformation of the volitional qualities. What can you do right now? Investigate where suffering is. Rather than, why is she like that? Why do they have to do that? No. That you could spend a lot of time doing that. But what would really be useful is can you investigate where the suffering is? Yeah. And particularly when you can clearly know full well you're in a situation where nobody is trying to make you suffer or wants you to suffer, and actually being rather generous and where's that? The me. Why can't they do it my way? This seems obvious to me. Okay. You may be right, but are you suffering from it? And then you begin to expose the unknown quality of the thirst, the craving to form a separate identity. Going their merry way towards fulfillment. Well, good luck. And so, you examine some of the basics. The separate identities is the grasping affecting these aggregates of perception, form, feeling, volitions and consciousness. So, as I said before, just look at this again. Who is this separate me? What creates it? I look around the hall, I see things that are outside me. So I'm the seer. Okay, that's me. Now we can change all the visual apparatus and I'll still be the seer. Where does the seer go when my eyes close? I'm still here. Where did the seer go? The seer's disappeared. The walls have disappeared. The room has disappeared. Where am I? I'm the feeler. I'm the one feeling sensations. That was a sudden change, wasn't it? I'm the feeler. What happens when we move the body around? The feelings and sensations change. Where do they go? Where did the one who's feeling that way disappeared? And we're continually being formulated in dependence on particular objects that arise in one's experience. The objects generate the me. The objects and the bonding to them generates the me. It's not that me exists and there's objects around it. No, the objects and the consciousness generates the me, who is actually indeterminate. He's a seer, a thinker, a happy, an unhappy, a peaceful and irritated. It's all kinds of things, but it's never any one thing. You get it? Because it's an illusion generated through bonding to particular objects of perception and consciousness. So there isn't an independent one. There never was, there never will be. And the other one, we think it moves forward in time. that what I am now is moving forward in time. Well, where was it yesterday? A blur of a few memories, isn't it? And where are you now? An open listening with various thoughts happening to it. The one of yesterday has disappeared. The experience of yesterday has disappeared. It's just now resonances of things that seemed interesting or whatever. The resonances are shimmering through now. Resonances, that's all. Resonances and shimmerings. Who's that? Where's that going to go? It just goes till it fades. Where's the trajectory in that? And where can you be most solidly present is when the future and the past stop. That's when you're most solidly, really full on, is when the future and the past stop. So there really isn't a valid becoming. There's a fantasy becoming that this citta has followed and followed and followed. So could you do something like just be present? Don't worry about where your fantasies are going, or your memories are going, or your impressions of who you are, your impressions of what you should be, or impressions of other people, or what you think other people think. Just cut to the chase and get to who's here. And steady it. Give it some space, give it some calming, give it some warmth, give it some patience, give it some grounding. That your faith is going to be in that, to come out of this grip of time, bhava, becoming. And then something really profound has been done. Even to get a handle on that, even to attempt it, something profound has been done. Something, the citta has gained traction on this slippery slope of samsara. So this is where this is called the stopping of that running on. So we learn dispassion, detachment, dispassion, letting things cease, inclining towards the moments when some of the turmoil movements just pause, even momentarily. You get to the end of an emotional pattern. Where was I? Oh yeah. Have a tea break from samsara every now and then. Okay, I'll just get back to my obsession again. Here we go. Where was I? Oh yeah. And then you meet somebody who seems cheerful, and you, oh, hello, oh yeah, how are you doing? Oh, fine, really nice, yeah, great. Just a minute, I've got to go back to my obsession now. And occasionally it kind of drops it, thinking, I can't even keep my obsessions going all the time. They sort of fade out. And can you be with that moment when it just, you see through it, just thinking, oh, come on, man, just, who cares? Can you be with the end of a breath when your breathing releases, without planning the next one? Be prepared to just be open. Can you be at the end of an in-breath, letting it trail all the way in without rushing to get onto the next one? Can you let those sankharas, kaya sankhara, into stillness? Can it lead the citta to that same place? Just pause. You don't have to claim anything, know anything, be anything, just pause in that space. you train it to do that. These are all ways in which we begin to get the light of the Dhamma, the light of release shining into our conditions, our programs. This is what I recommend for practice and contemplation. And recognize in this process it's a slanting, a sloping, there's no one click on Dhamma. There's no one click, push the button, but there is a graduated process, and all the practices that we can do will, when they ripen, they lead the same way to the elimination of suffering. So it takes some time for direct practice.